Hey guys, so this video is for rappers or artists taking free MP3s or waves off the internet and mixing their vocals over top. So this is very basic beginner stuff aimed at helping you get your track to sound just a bit better for playback on speakers or for your friends. So this is based on a beat I'll be showing you that I made with just completely random vocals that I found. I've tried to tune it a little bit, but basically it's just there as an example to show you how to better mix your beats. This is also just to imitate more or less what you're going to be doing. So obviously this does not replace actual mixing and mastering. This is just to help you get the ball rolling. So here are 5 tips to help your track sound better, just for playback on your car stereo or for your friends, or even just before you send them off to a mix engineer like me. The number one thing I always get, usually from SoundCloud rappers or people, is vocals when they come in. They're just not in mono. So what does that mean? Mono means that your vocals are down the middle of your mix. So let me just show you a quick example here. In FL Studio, we can make them mono fully.
Okay, it's been a long week, so fuck,
or we can make them wide.
Let loose.
So basically the issue is when you put your vocals over top of your mix and you make them wide, you put effects and delays without taking care of the mono aspect of your vocals. There can be phasing issues, which leads into phase cancellation when you're playing back on speakers, which basically means your vocals gonna sound like shit. There's 2 basic things you can do. I've just taken an EQ here and I've just cut out all the sides from the bottom of the vocals just to make sure that there's no side information going on in the low end of the vocals, and obviously not too much around the top. So basically what you want to do is have your dry vocal and then add your effects after, and you can even put this EQ at the end of your chain just to make sure that your vocals are going through your mix mono, which is going to make it sound better. This is a perfect segue into tip number 2, which is subtractive EQ and cutting. So usually when I get vocals, a lot of the times the low end isn't cut out of the vocal, so it clashes with the bass in your track. So for example, your track here is going to have a lot of low end information. So all of this low end information is going to clash with your vocals if they also have low end and you haven't EQ'd that out. So if we listen to our vocals and we look at those, here I've actually cut out, you can see all of this low end down here so that it doesn't clash with the bass in the track that you've downloaded. Make sure you cut your low end. Also, subtractive EQ is basically cutting out any areas of your vocals that might sound a little bit harsh. So typical areas for harshness are around 3K and 7K or 6 or 7K. So those would be like your S's that stand out in your mix that could be really annoying to someone listening to your song. So that's a good area to look at, and just making minor or small cuts is super important. So don't go making crazy EQs cutting out lots of different things. If we look at our EQ here, we can just do some minor cuts here.
Okay, it's been a long week, so fuck it, I'm trying to let loose. You can find me jumping up on.
So I've just cut a decibel there. This vocal is actually pretty clean already. It looks like it's been a bit processed from what I can tell, but I've just cut a dB at around 6,000 just to control that area a bit better. And in your own mix, you can just see what your vocal sounds like, and if you have any major problem areas, go ahead and cut those down to size a little bit, which would help your vocals sit better in the mix. For subtractive EQ, from the standpoint of the beat that you're actually using, a good trick to help your vocals sit a bit better on that beat is to look at where your vocals are sitting on your EQ. So see what range they're in. So we can see that the vocals are mainly sitting between 200 to 1K hertz. That's where like the beef of all the vocals are coming from. So a good trick to go through would be to open up your EQ on your track and just cut a little bit in that area to help your vocals stand out more. Once you've included that or incorporated that into your mix, your vocals should sit a bit better over the beat. Tip number 3 is sidechaining. What is sidechaining? Sidechaining is basically ducking the volume of your vocal when there is transient, like a kick or snare, just to make that transient come through and not distort your track with your vocals. I've put in a sidechain over the kick drum of the beat. It's sidechaining your vocal, so every time the kick hits, it ducks the volume of the vocal a little bit so the kick can come through, and it makes the beat just sound that much cleaner and nicer than it would if you didn't sidechain your beat.
Okay, it's been a long week, so fuck it, I'm trying to let loose.
And here's without sidechain.
Okay, it's been a long week, so fuck it, I'm trying to let loose.
it just has that extra punch in your beat. In order to sidechain, basically you can just grab a volume automation. So you can just literally create an automation clip and duck that, make a clip right over your kick drum. So if I see the kick drum here, I can create an automation clip just about the size of the kick drum and duck the vocal in that area. Obviously, you want to adjust that to taste so it's not too much, but you'll be able to tell the difference and hear it as you're working on your track. Tip number 4, super important, is limiting. So I get a lot of tracks that are super distorted that aren't actually being limited, and what some artists are doing is just pushing all the volume levels up to get the most sound out of their track. And I get that, that's what we all want, is to have a nice loud track, but there is such a thing as too much, and that causes distortion. So the best way to go about that is to limit your track. Put one on your master. So for example, I have one here. So here's my limiter. All my audio channels are being fed into the limiter, and limiter is preventing anything from going above 0 decibels, just making sure that it's not clipping.
A long week, so fuck it, I'm trying to let loose.
So the limiter is working. It's cutting off the peaks from going above 0 decibels, preventing the track from clipping or distorting. So if we turn it off here,
Okay, it's been a long week.
the track sounds a little bit quieter once I'm limiting it because it's preventing it from going above 0 decibels, but you can always bring that level back up with the gain knob here, and all limiters will have this gain increase knob. Just be careful with that. You don't want to go too far up, or again, you're going to create issues like ducking and even different types of distortion when you do over limiting of your track. But you can add a little bit of beef if you want.
Okay, it's been a long week, so fuck it, I'm trying to let loose.
Obviously, this is super beginner stuff, so this is just to help you prevent clipping, but it's not a remedy for actual mixing and mastering of your beat and your vocal. I hope this helps you guys take your vocal and just layer it over any beat, get some really basic things tweaked in so that it can sound just a bit better for playback with your friends. I hope this video helps you today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.